Hey guys, welcome to another podcast from the Three Bios. If you are on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. If you are on Spotify, don't forget to enjoy it and give us a 5-star rating. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Three Bios, or commonly known as the Two Bios for today, with me and my man, Noah. How you doing, Noah? You feeling good today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm amazing. I'm awesome. I've had the,
Good,
the,
good.
quiet, the quietest Saturday night one could possibly wish to have. But
That sounds
I'm
good.
there, fresh and crispy on this fine Sunday morning. Thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Exactly. Right. We're going to get in and talk about a couple of different games. First of all, we're going to start with the Arsenal, probably move on to touch upon Bournemouth and Brighton game, and then we're going to have a little look at the Newcastle game. So let's start with Arsenal performance against Nottingham Forest. Let's talk us through the first half. What do you think went good? What do you think went wrong? And I'll tell you my opinions on what went right and what went wrong as well. So, no, talk to us.
Really and truly right, considering it's the curtain raiser and the season opener for the club, and given the fact that we tailed off so spectacularly last season and didn't manage to see it over the line and get that first Premier League title in 20 years. Yeah, 2 decades. Right? We had a handful of games to go to get over the line. And we absolutely did. Considering that, given that, it was an okay start today, but I saw a lot of the complacency that led to the downfall that happened last season as well. I'm afraid, and I know it's going to look like I'm in overkill mode saying this because obviously we were 2-0 up come half time. Both goals were pretty spectacular, especially the second. Bukayo Saka, wow.
Yeah, that was that's contender for goal of the season already, mate, which is mental.
This kid, man, I don't have any words left for him. But the second half disturbed me. It did.
Mm.
It's for me. It's like the differences in the differences between the league champions, Manchester City, is that they always at least start in fourth gear and then kick it into fifth occasionally, and then only really dip back down to fourth when everything. So they flip between fourth and fifth, right? And then when everything
Hmm.
is absolutely done and dusted, then they'll go into third. Us, we start in third. We coast, thinking
Yeah,
that we can get away with playing in third. Something desperate happens back there, and then they kick it into fourth, and then the goals start flowing. And then once an okay lead, I wouldn't say a comfortable lead. I'd say a 2-0 or a 3-1, for example. But when we get one of them, then we go back into like third, or if not third, then second sometimes. And that last 15 minutes against like newly promoted and uh, practically newly promoted Nottingham Forest at home
yeah.
at the end on a season opener, it shouldn't have been as hairy as it was, man. 2-1 is far too close a result for Arsenal Football Club to be kind of finishing off against the likes of Nottingham Forest. So I
Yeah,
think
no, I agree with that. But what I notice as well is you find it hard to, like, say Man City, sometimes they drop down to third gear, but they're able to pick it up faster again. I just
yeah,
feel like you can't, or you can, but you just don't want to, maybe, or you find it hard to jump back up to the sixth gear, for instance,
I like
after
this.
like something.
I like this manager. I respect this manager. He's done phenomenal things. To be fair, to be brutally honest, but
Hmm.
his in-game management is questionable.
Yeah,
Even even the way that the team set up absolutely baffled and confused me. And then it started to kind of make sense. But then it's like, okay, right, I see what's going on here, formationally, tactically. But where is the application? Why are you not on the touchline reminding them, hey guys, remember you bottled the league last season?
hmm,
People still haven't stopped talking about it. Like, do yourselves a favor and play to your play to your maximum capacity, or if not your maximum capacity, then the next notch down, not
yeah,
two down. You know what I mean? Because this is a Premier League, man. The other team only needs a sniff. They fart arsing around, and
hmm.
they'll win, and they'll be all over you. And then before you know it, the game's 2-1, then it's 2-2, then it's 3-2, and then you've gone from collecting 3 points to either collecting 1 point or to collecting 0 points. Meanwhile, City
Exactly.
are over there. They're scoring three, they're conceding none. They're top of the league, and already the standard has been set.
Exactly, and Nottingham Forest had that really early chance, which I thought would have, um, tried to, which I think helped them in the first half because I think they reminded shit. Okay, yeah, there is no crap teams in the Premier League. There isn't. Okay, you get the people who are not like really as good, but they're in the Premier League for a reason. You know what I mean? And that Johnson should have scored that chance personally. That 1-on-1 with the keeper, he should have scored that chance, and I think that would have changed the game, Arsenal's mentality perspective. But I also think, and we had a bit of a discussion about this in our little group chat, but I feel that Nottingham Forest first half were a totally different team to the second half. I think second half they were a totally different team, and I can see you straight away. You don't believe it, but they were. They didn't give Odegaard as much time in the second half. They were pressing Rice a lot. All right, yeah, they still got enough quality to break that. 100%. I'm not denying that, but at least they put a bit of effort in. First half, Odegaard was on a field day. He may as well fucking set up camp and have a little dinner and then pass the ball out.
Alex.
Come on.
Like we discussed mid game. Okay, the teams from 7th down to 20th, every time they turn up at the Emirates, it is the same old story. Arsenal boss possession. Arsenal
100%.
have all the play. The opposing team sits behind. They soak it all up. They hit us on a counter attack or nick a set piece, and then it becomes a desperate scramble then to either grab, salvage, a draw, or even try and snatch a win. It's the same old tried and tested script. The only teams that come to us and come out of their half are the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, and
Brighton?
Brighton. Brighton absolutely walloped us last season, so that's another team. I can't really say much for the other guys, I'm afraid. Chelsea, really.
We
Quite
play
comfortable.
counter-attacking against you, and that's how we got our result against you as well, so...
You do, but you're a world-class counter-attacking team. So,
well, yeah, we'll get into that in a couple of weeks' time when we play you, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But personally, I do feel that the midfield was a lot better in the second half for Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Forest, yeah. And that's why it made a bit of... But I think the biggest impact was, unfortunately, Timber going off. And I know it's mental to say, but I do genuinely feel that you didn't play to the same standard from the back without Timber there. I don't know whether that was the change. I don't really know much about this kid, but I know you brought him in quite a while ago, and I wasn't a big fan of him, should we say. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't a big fan of him yesterday.
Timber?
No. The person you brought on, Tomiyasu, yeah. I wasn't a big fan of him. He was decent. Like, he wasn't horrendous. He wasn't terrible. But I don't think he's as good as Timber, if that makes sense. And I think that's what the standard dropped down.
I don't think there are many defenders on the planet that are as good as Timber.
No.
To be fair.
No, yeah.
Let's be fair to the lad, Tomiyasu. Honestly, really and truly, to me, it all lies with the manager, man. It all lies with the manager. If I'm in that changing room, I'm hammering it home to them. Guys, please go and set the marker out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You bottled the league last season, right? Don't turn up coasting. Don't take a 2-0 lead and think you can get away with it for the next 45 minutes of the second half. No, go and stamp your authority. Go and display and show your intent, and go and hit you 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it might be. Make a fucking statement.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, 2-1 is far too close and comfortable for me. And as far as the Nottingham Forest tactics, I mean, to be fair, the last time they came to the Emirates, they got hammered 5-0. So I think it's only natural that the next time they've come here now, it's ended up being a much closer game, and they're much more reserved and conservative in their approach towards it. So it kind of goes hand in.
It wasn't a pretty display, but they got... I think they would be happy with 2-1. If I'm really honest, I think going to the Emirates and getting 2-1 and not getting pumped off the field, you know what I mean? I would be quite happy with that, personally, if I was a Nottingham Forest fan. I think the substitutions they made were very positive in the sense of bringing Alanga on. I think that, was it Gibbs White? Absolutely. Was it Gibbs White? I can't remember his name now. I think it was Gibbs White. Absolutely insane. Really, really good player. He was them two when they kicked. Well, obviously Gibbs White started. Really, really good. That Johnson, he was okay. Didn't take his chances, but I think for a young winger who's playing through the middle, I think he done all right, personally.
Brennan Johnson and Gibbs White. That's a tandem right there that can trouble any defence in this league. 2 young English prospects as well. So, sorry, Brennan Johnson's Welsh. Welsh
Welsh prospect. Yeah, he is Welsh.
That's the ultimate. one of the three boys. Sorry, but
Don't ever insult him like that again. Come on
just,
now.
just hold my British attacking duo then. Yeah.
That's true. But personally, I think they'll be all right this season. You know, I'm gonna say it. I do think they'll be okay.
It's really,
Yeah,
really difficult to tell, man.
it
And I
is. But like looking at the other teams that I've seen, I think they would be okay. I think they'll get just enough points just to stay safe. I think again this season. Um, hey, saying that though, they got the Welsh manager, so maybe we should support him a little bit. I don't know,
yeah,
but
DP one of the seven dwarfs.
but
I thought it was an early night, man. I'm telling
maybe
you, he needs an early night. That what's his name? That I forgot his name now.
yeah. I don't know his name. What's his name?
DPI
Cooper, no, Steve Cooper, is it? Cooper?
Super that's the one. Yeah. To be fair, whenever I hear him in his interviews, he sounds like a lovely lad. But bloody hell, mate! Like
He looks like a drip, doesn't
somebody show him the footage of him on the touchline. He literally looks half asleep.
he? So
Anyway,
the way
personal.
Arsenal set up
Yeah.
was very different to how they normally set up. It was
Bizarre.
more like what Man City do with Stones when he comes into the midfield, right? It's a very similar style or tactical way, but with Partey on the right. Explain it.
Mikel Arteta is not doing anything to dispel the rumors, the talk on the terraces, the banter, and the online forums. But he is just basically a B Tech Pep Guardiola wannabe. Um, because Pep deployed this system that I'm not really too familiar with, but he basically has three centre backs, right, and then he has two holding midfielders ahead of them, and then the other four attackers
Hmm.
that sit comfortably behind the one striker at the top. I believe that's how it goes, and it's that formation when they're in possession, but when they're out of possession, that second central defensive midfielder, he kind of slots back into the right back position to obviously make up for the gaps
Yeah.
when they have the ball. And it's a bit of a reshuffle. So it's like two different formations when depending on whether you
Yeah.
have or don't have the ball.
So the back three is obviously White, Saliba, and Timber, right, at the time. And then
White,
obviously
yeah,
Partey then is coming in to the CDM role, which he's very extremely good at. White is
with Rice
playing like on the right, and so you got three at the back with one
on the
in
left,
front.
Rice on the left of that two-man pivot.
Yes, yeah, but White, I was saying, White's on the right centre back,
Sorry, forgive me. Yeah,
Timber
yeah,
on the left, and then you're playing with a back three with
yeah.
Saliba through the middle. Which I
Yeah,
like Saliba through the middle because I think he reads the game extremely well, and
yeah.
he was able to sniff out mainly all the danger. In terms of that, then, so you have Havertz playing as like I guess a second number 10 in a weird, bizarre way. He like had a free roll, but
Yeah,
free roll to hide. I think it was
yeah,
yesterday. It was really bizarre. I didn't see him
yeah.
much in the game personally. I tried to look out for him as much as I could, but he was just one of those. I think he's one of those players that easily hid hideable. Like you don't see him, you don't. He hides. I don't know if that's the way he is or if that's just the way he's playing. I don't know, but you don't notice him much in the game. That's just me personally.
Honestly, I I've tried my absolute hardest, yeah, to get on board with this signing, and for the life of me, it's just not happening. I've seen
Mm.
like 4 or 5 preseason games, and he's been given enough time to at least show me something significant in one of those games. I'm not saying
Mm.
have a star performance in every single one of them, but show me something that makes me go, right, there it is. And honestly, he's just an extra body in there and literally a waste of space. There could be a much more talented, much more useful, much more effective footballer occupying that role in our team. But for some reason, Arteta is fixated on him.
Mm.
And I don't get it. I really don't get it. 6'4", tall as a beanpole, slight build, um,
Gangly German.
gangly German, yeah. And I look at his attributes and I'm like, okay, well if you're 6'4", can you be effective aerially? Not really. I think
No.
okay, well you're quite slim and slender in your frame, so can you be quite agile and athletic? Not really. And I'm like, okay, well
Yeah.
you've got a very silky touch. It's kind of smooth and butter-like almost gliding across the pitch. Can you can you kind of affect the game with dribbles and incisive passes and stuff? Not really. Can you be a goal threat? Much of a goal threat? Not really. He had a one-on-one yesterday where he went in and contested for it with a centre back, right? And he chested it, and he was gone. Come
Any
to
other
find out,
striker, he's gone.
any other any other Arsenal striker of previous years would have been bearing down on goal and slotting that home. But my man here, too, not strong enough to hold off the centre back, right, and kind of edge way towards goal, and not quick enough to get beyond him and obviously tuck that away and score it. So I'm like, well, what
Bear
the
in
hell?
mind, he was in a foot race with Willy Bolly, right? A 32-year-old centre back, right? Who's not known for the speed, is known for his. He's basically a
Powerhouse.
better version of Harry Maguire in terms of pace, right? He's got a lot more pace in him, but he's not that.
Okay, saying that.
Yeah, well, I am. All right, he's not known. He hasn't got recovery pace, but he made
This,
him look like he has got recovery pace. It was terrible.
if I'm 24 years old and I'm in the prime of my life, right, and I've just nicked away from a defender who's in his advancing years, yeah, and I'm on my home stadium, and it's the first opening day of the season, and I need to make and stamp my mark as an Arsenal attacker that's been brought in for big bucks, right? I'm putting that away.
Yeah.
But he didn't manage to do it. And I don't mean unluckily. I mean he did not literally have the tools or the minerals to do what needed to be done. So therefore, he is not good enough to play for this football club.
No.
He's he's not good enough to play for Arsenal Football Club. Kai Havertz, 65 million waste of money.
Yep.
Honestly,
Yeah,
honestly.
I agree. I think
Sorry.
65 was way too much. Way
On
too much for the guy.
check this out. If we paid 35 million, it would still be too much. If we paid
Ooh.
if we paid 5 million, it would still be too much. You know why? Because he's occupying a space that could be better put to use by somebody else more effective. That's the bottom line of it. The price tag is just another layer of the kind of disgruntlement with it. But even if he came for free, no, he's
Yeah, for me, the odd thing about it was a lot of people compare Havertz and Mount signings are very similar. For me, they're not very similar in the sense that we needed a replacement for Eriksen because he's getting on, and I think that's who he's replacing, right? Havertz, who's he replacing? Because he's not a like for like replacement, if that makes sense.
well, you think Granit Xhaka, who's like our left-footed, left-sided central defensive midfielder. Havertz is known to be attacker come midfielder who is also of like German background. He is German. He come from the same team as Granit Xhaka, believe it or not, in Bayern Leverkusen. Um, and it was believed that he could be kind of fitted to adopt that central defensive midfield role with a license to get forward in the same way that Xhaka used to. But they are completely different players, completely different,
Definitely not.
completely different personas, completely different personalities, qualities, everything. And he is not a patch on the man. He's not a
Yeah, and
patch.
I agree. Like he's nowhere near that standard. I don't think, like Dale said in the chat, he's not an Arsenal Football Club player. He's not an Arsenal player. You know what I
No,
mean? He doesn't even.
no,
He doesn't look right.
no,
Wearing the shirt, he doesn't look right. You know
no.
what I mean?
All I ask from you as one of our players is show me something.
Yeah,
Show me, show me why you've been selected today. Show me what you offer to the team, and it was minimal. Even right, if I take all biases aside, and I absolutely just kind of stay tunnel vision, looking for the best of him, trying to be, Peter positive. The contributions were minimal. They were
yeah.
minimal, and it's not good enough. He's hogging up
Um,
space better put elsewhere. I'm sorry. Get
yeah.
him out of my.
I think
And
Trossard would have been a better start. You could have replaced him with Trossard.
don't start me
Personally,
on.
I
Don't
love
start
Trossard. I love Trossard. I really
me.
do. I really, really like the player. I didn't think I would because of what he did at Brighton, but I really like the player, and
Me
I'm
too.
really jealous that you got him. I really am.
I hear you. I hear you. I loved him when he was at Brighton, and I could not believe he was
Yeah.
coming to us because we were being linked with that Mudryk, and I liked him as well. But when we got Trossard, I was like, you know what? Great, just as good,
Mhm.
brilliant, cool, bring him on. Yeah, unbelievable footballer, and I wouldn't be
For
so.
me, it doesn't seem like he's in Arteta's plans as much as I thought he would be. For me, I think he's got to be first name on the sheet somewhere. You've got to
This
fit him in somewhere.
manager sometimes I don't understand. I don't understand him
Mm.
sometimes, but trust the process. So cool. I'll have to.
Right, let's move on to some positive things, and I've got to hold my hands up, and I've got to apologise for one of them. Martinelli, absolutely fantastic. I got to
I'll
say, I basing mine off what I seen in pre-season against United. He wasn't great. He wasn't great and stuff like that. I was basing off that, and I was totally wrong, hundred
Yeah, but
percent wrong.
you watched him before that, surely last season.
Yeah, of course I did, but I'm
Right?
just going off current form and like you know what I mean. I
I-
was like, oh, maybe he's not up to the standard yet. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, I don't think he's there right now. Maybe he can wait a couple of games to get his game going and then go from there. But I was 100% wrong. Absolutely phenomenal. Well, the front three, even Nketiah, I was really impressed with.
Yeah,
Really impressed with him.
he's a brilliant little forward. He is. He's very understated and underrated. But yeah, Martinelli, man. Let's remember, guys, he scored 15 league goals last season. He's 21. Can we
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah. I know. But
That
like,
doesn't come from nothing.
no, but I just thought maybe he's hitting a bad patch, and that's why I wouldn't have played him. But I was 100% wrong, and this is why I'm not a manager. You know what I mean?
One
Because I probably would have dropped him. I'm not gonna lie.
one of our Mr. Dependables, let me tell you that.
Yeah,
Absolutely sensational talent.
and
And lucky to have him.
another one's on the other wing. What a performance from Saka yesterday! Oh my god, generational talent. England's first name on the list has to be. How old is he? 22? 23?
21.
Is he 21? He seems like he's been around for years, mate,
Yeah,
already.
that's
You know
17,
what I
18,
mean?
19, 20, 21. Season six is
Insane.
6 seasons at 21. Mental. Do you know
My
what?
biggest worry for him, though, and I don't want to get you worried for a couple of years' time, but he's going to go to the likes of Real Madrid in about 4 or 5 years' time when he's hit his prime. He's got to, isn't he?
You won't get me worried because I know that with him being Arsenal Academy through and through, he's an actual Arsenal man. He's not some
Mm.
foreign import that was brought in and a bit of a mercenary. So he literally loves the club, right? So he will play for the badge and he won't play for any other Premier League team. And if he
Mm.
does end up warranting to move to one of the bigger clubs, eventually at some point down the line, for me, he'll only have our blessing if we end up fulfilling the objectives that we have in lifting Premier League and Champions League and other things like that. Yeah, I'd give him my blessing if he went on to do bigger things
He,
somewhere
he
else.
he's definitely a type of player that they would look at because he's full of flair, but also he's not like a Ronaldo who's like one I want me. He's
No,
a he's very good at reading the game, understanding what to do at that specific point in the split second, and he's a very intelligent guy from what I heard. You know what I mean?
he,
He's very academically intelligent one as well, which is very rare to have when you have someone so
yeah,
spectacular on the football pitch and spectacular out of the
grounded,
football pitch as well.
grounded, switched on, humble.
Hmm.
England player of the season 2 times in a row, mind. And look at the stars that England have got. Kane, they got Grealish, they got Rice, they got
Yeah.
Bellingham, and for a kid like him to be scooping that award up, insane, insane.
Mate,
Um,
everyone talks about Bellingham and how much, oh, he's the only player this, only player that, who's played at a young age, won everything, played at this level. I'm like, everyone forgets about Saka. Like, he's been doing it at the top level for years, right?
and,
And everyone's just
and
sitting there just because he hasn't won all these trophies yet. Do you know what I mean? Because they are going to win something. They have to. Whether it's a Champions League
yeah,
or a league, they're going to with this squad. Because they've got the mentality, they've got the quality. They just need to touch up on one or two little bits and they'll be fine. They're going to win something, which kills me to say.
I'd love to share your enthusiasm, and I do kind of believe it, but at the same time, for me, there's still some psychological improvements that need to be made, and if
Mm.
they can't be made, those are the differences at this top level. The psychology of the game, like Pep Guardiola is not only a tactical master and a tactician, but he is a psychological master as well,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of the weaknesses of Arteta. Saka, for as good as he is, he gets run into the ground, forcing him to play 90 minutes every single game, every single week. He never makes clever, he doesn't give him a clever break. Oh, there we go. We got a goal out of you. We had an hour out of you. Let one of the other boys have a go. We'll do a bit of a rotation. Now he has to play every nanosecond, every microsecond, every millisecond of every single game. Like what we saw with Michael Owen. Well, what I saw with Michael Owen being a little bit older. He was burst onto the scene as a teenager, took over the world, and then he completely burnt out his legs. His hamstring had gone because he just kept getting played and played and played non-stop every minute, every minute, every minute, every minute. Your career is done by 25 because you've been running to the ground. I don't want to see that happen to him.
I don't think they. I think like especially technology now within the medical side of it. I think he'd be fine. He does play a lot of games, but I think now because you have got strength and depth, I think in a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup first couple of rounds, you can rest him. You can put him on the bench, bring him on for the last 30 if you need him. But you can afford to do that now with the likes of Trossard and stuff like that, who can all come in. Even Havertz can play on that side. I know you don't like him, but he can do a job against fucking, I don't know, Blackpool FC or fucking, you know what I mean? He can do something. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
And that's
mate,
why he should be there. He's a rotational player, Havertz.
Alex, hear me when I say this, okay? Of all 38 Premier League games, Bukayo Saka plays from the very first minute to the final second of the 90th minute.
Hmm.
No matter what the result is, he rarely gets substituted. And when I say rarely, I mean rarely.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why that is. It's horrible. It's almost like watching. I was going to say something morbid then, but it's almost like watching like someone who's being overworked and is stressed out off the back of it, basically. But they're refusing to pipe up and say anything to their boss
Yeah.
when really they're entitled to rest and annual leave and holiday, for example.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but what?
I totally understand. I totally understand. For me, I just want to touch on one thing. Good job, yourself, Turner. He is terrible. I didn't realize how bad he was with his feet, man. And
He's
so,
ab-
and I still think, right, David Ray is going to come in, and I think he's going to take over Ramsdale as number one eventually. I really do, mate. Because he
especially
wasn't great with his feet today. He was good yesterday, really good. But there's a couple of times he got caught with the ball twice. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, a couple of misplaced passes. All right, then maybe nerves, or maybe just start a season, whatever it is. You can't take away from last season. I understand. He'd be number one for this season, but I think next season Raya will develop as number one. I really do.
He definitely can't sit there now in his throne as Arsenal's number one goalkeeper without any kind of competition or any challenge because at this level you need to be on your toes. And if you don't have someone breathing down your neck behind you ready to take your spot, then you're at the wrong football club, to be
Yep.
honest. So it goes without saying. Whether Raya comes in and supersedes him as number one or not is really dependent on form, isn't it? If Ramsdale sees the competition and he gets up to the level needed to kind of be consistent, then he can fend off the Raya challenge. But
Mm.
obviously, good competition breeds success. So yeah,
You're lucky to have two first team goalkeepers. I think. Like at the moment, United now got one Anana. Unfortunately,
Tom
Things
Ethan.
he's injured, mate.
Oh
He's
wow,
injured now. Yeah, so we haven't got a second keeper at the moment because
I'm not.
The Kavar is gone on loan.
Is he gone? Gone?
No, he's gone. 9 million we sold him for. Bayern Leverkusen.
Wow.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He was a
Wow.
really good young prospect. 23 years
Impressive.
of
What
hmm?
is Ten Hag on with Bauman?
Um I think it was more of a chase that he wanted to be first team next season. And obviously they bought in Anana and they couldn't guarantee it. Which I understand.
I must say, I'm not sure how old Tom Heaton is. I know he's at the twilight of his career and stuff, but
He's
when he
about
played,
36, isn't he? 34,
fair,
36. He's
fair
old.
enough. When he played against us in pre-season over in the States and a couple of other games that I picked up on for United, um, I was really impressed with him. Like his footwork, his kicking is brilliant.
It's okay, yeah. It's not bad, but he's
He,
that's not the way he plays. He's been molded into that. You can see that because he doesn't look quite. Onana's on the edge of his box. He's playing that sweeper keeper. He doesn't play that sweeper keeper. I get that.
he's never going to quite be on a level. Onana is like a
No.
spectacularly gifted ball playing goalkeeper. But
Hmm.
for what Tom Heaton is, for how old Tom Heaton is, for
Yeah.
as many times as he's gone on the clock, I tell you what, he's taken to it pretty okay.
Yeah, 100%. And with Ten Hag, like he's always said, I want three first team keepers potentially. Right? He's always said that. Like that's why we got Jack Butland in last season. Okay, he's not first team, but he's
He's still there,
played in first teams. Do you know what I mean? So we had
still there.
three first team keepers, and now no, he's gone now. He went. He obviously we only had him on loan, didn't we? He's gone to play for Rangers now, which we're looking at Rangers number two keeper now to sign him
Yeah, yeah.
on a on a loan, I believe. Again, loans. Just buy fucking players. Or to stop selling your bloody youth to a quality.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But anyway,
Who do you put a decisions like that down to then?
for me, that's got to be. You got to be looking at John Murray, but I can't say that no more because Ten Hag has a 50-50 decision. So he can veto any decision. So he's totally in control. So you've got to look at Ten Hag as well. But for me, I think that one was the player decision. He wanted first team football, he wanted guaranteed first team football, and he wanted minutes. We can't guarantee that when you just bought in Onana.
But this isn't the first time that we've seen this with one of your bright prospects.
No. James Garner was probably the one that hurt me the most because I really wanted him to stay at Manchester United.
Captain of
Especially when you got Casemiro there, you can learn so much off like a legend of the game, especially in the role he plays.
Juan Zayden, think about him.
He was a bit injury prone, though, wasn't he? For me, I think he was very hot and cold. He reminded me of a Fred in the sense that 1 minute he could be like 10 out of 10, the next minute he's like a 2 out of 10. He was very inconsistent, which you can't really have at the top level. But again, Palestri, I like Palestri. I don't know why he's not getting game time, but he has just signed a new 5-year contract with Manchester United. So
just to probably be farmed out on loan.
yeah, which is a bit weird because he's like 23, 24 now, mate. He's not like a young prospect. Do you know what I mean? He should be playing first team football for Manchester United if you're playing. So I'm a bit weird by that. Personally, I think it's more like we don't want to admit we fucked up on that one. But I think he's just seen what Amad Diallo's just done on loan, come back, and he looks like a real good player. I think he wants to try and do that with him. But he's a year behind, if that makes sense. Potentially 2 years behind Amad Diallo, and they both play in the same position. So for me, I think you got to let him go.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Personally, plus he's an old school winger. He's not one of these cut in on your left foot booth. He's a right winger with a right foot and a fucking good one at that. Do you know what I mean? But when you've got a striker like Højlund, you're going to need that type of ball because he's good in the box. That's when he scores his goals, is in that 18-yard box. So you want someone like a Sancho, you want someone like a Palestri to get them balls in who will look up and not be greedy and cut in on the left foot or cut on the right foot like Anthony and Rashford. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see. There's obviously a plan there for him. Don't know what it is because I haven't got Ten Hag's number yet. You know what I mean? But we'll soon see. I hope it's a good plan because, well, I like Palestri a lot.
It's mad, right? We're both in a situation where we're trying our best to believe in the processes that our managers are laying down.
Yeah.
But deep down in the pits of our stomach, we know something somewhere is a little bit untoward, but we don't really want to say it out loud and chant negative energies about it. But I know that it's there with mine. And I'm sure that you can see a couple of decisions that are just completely eyebrow raising with Ten Hag.
It's like now with this centre replacing Harry Maguire centre back. We're going for this Povard, right? I would rather someone. He's 27, 28. Why are we bringing a 27-year-old, 28-year-old who? All right, I've read a lot about Bayern Munich fans expressing their interest and they want to still keep him, which is always a good sign for another club who wants to buy him if Bayern Munich want to keep him. But last night I seen him. He was not fucking good last night. Like, he wasn't great last night in the game. You know what I mean? He made a couple of mistakes. But personally, I'll go for someone younger.
He's a fixture in the French national team, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not really anything spectacular. A solid 7 out of 10 all across the board. He's versatile in that he can not only play right back, but he can play centre back as well. He's one of those understated. He's like basically like French Gary Neville.
Oof, God, we've already got one Gary Neville. We didn't need another one.
So when you look at the wild inconsistencies in the fullbacks that you've got, you've got Wan-Bissaka, defensive ability through the roof, attacking ability down the drain, and then you got Diogo Dalot, attacking ability very good, defensive ability. So this guy, I think he'd be a good combination of both and a steady one. You know, I think he could be good. I really think he could be good for you.
I kind of like the idea that you can play right back because obviously with injury, Dalot's quite injury prone at the moment. I don't know why we keep getting players who are injury prone. I don't know whether it's processes from before where they just put too much strain on their body too young. Again, he's only 23, Dalot. Seems like he's been around for ages. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Carrying a bit every time I look at him play. He's carrying a bit.
Excess. But I don't know whether he's training. How often is he training? We don't know because he's only played twice preseason that I can remember. starting. Do you know what I mean? It's always been Wan-Bissaka, which time means Wan-Bissaka is going to be number one, personally.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that.
The best kind of ability is availability. Remember that.
Yeah, and this is why I'm so happy that potential rumours of Martial being sold. I can't fucking wait. You know what I mean? We need another striker. And I
Yeah.
talk about strikers. We're going to move on to the Brighton game. Ferguson, man, we need to sign this kid.
Evan Ferguson.
Yeah, what a top class individual striker, man. He came on, scored a goal yesterday, but he's in the right places. He's just one of them
Yeah.
people who naturally know where to be in the box. You can't teach it. He's just a good striker. What you can teach, Joe, is like his movement and stuff like that. But he doesn't need to be. He's already got that. Do you know what I mean? He just needs to play more often. And what is he? 18, 19? He's not old, like.
Still a teenager, basically.
Yeah. Really impressed with Brighton yesterday, considering they've lost two key midfielders, and I think
My team to watch.
yeah, exactly, and two key midfielders. I think it's just a credit to the club and the recruitment process. In like they must be thinking like 2-3 years in advance. They gotta be. They gotta be thinking, right, okay, this is a potential. If he gets to this potential, he's gonna go at this point roughly, and then we need to sign this player for that point. It's mental how they do it. Mental, because
Well, you say it's mental, but I think it's pretty simple. I mean, it's basically a football club that has a scouting network that enables them to unearth cheap, talented gems, right, for minimal fee and maximum gain and profit, right? And then not only that, but all they basically have is a contingency plan in place in that one of their gems get poached, they have the next one lined up and ready. You can apply that to so many factors of life. It's not rocket science. If anything, what's more alarming is that more Premier League teams don't have this kind of mindset and
exactly.
structure.
It's unusual to be seen in the Premier League at the moment because you don't see it very often, and this is why Brighton should come out so efficiently. It's run like a business, but like not business like, oh, we're not giving you money kind of thing. It's business as in the sense of contingency plans, as you said. If anything goes wrong, we got a plan to fall back on. And I can't say his name, right? I can't.
Norm.
You are, sorry, mate.
I was just saying it should be the norm. It should be just a standard procedure for all football clubs, but it obviously isn't. So yeah, but go on. Who are you referring to?
Well, I can't say his name. The left back, Esther, whatever it is. I can't say his name.
Oh, Estupinian.
What a player he was yesterday, man.
I know.
I seen him all last. Oh my god! Why has nobody snapped him up? I
have
thought
no
a big
idea.
team would have gone in for him by now.
I have no idea. He's so comfortable, isn't he?
Yeah.
So so physically perfect, so athletically perfect, technically perfect. He's a perfect Premier League footballer. Yeah, they've got an absolute gem on their hands with that one, and
Top quality.
they snatched him from Villarreal as well, who were like normally like competing in European competitions like Europa League and the Champions League. So for like only Brighton to do that, that really tells you about the pull that they've now got and the things that they're trying to achieve with.
I think that's a credit to the Premier League as well, in the sense of this is what the Premier League has done as well. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that it's created this type of pull as well, even for the money that the so-called smaller clubs get. You know what I mean? It's still quite a lot. It's still quite big. You know what I mean? For me, seeing Milner again. Milner's playing right back, right? He's so good, man. He's like, okay, he wasn't bursting down the wings, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But he was just, I think his move was needed, and I think you could see that in his play.
I bet he slotted in seamlessly, didn't he? Like a car in a bunch of gears.
I thought he'd been playing there for 2-3 seasons, mate. When I seen him, you know what I mean. Gross in the midfield dominated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Beautiful.
Those old German legs. Yeah, he's a very interesting player, isn't he? You look at him and he doesn't appear to be much, but every time you watch a Brighton move, he's always involved in something significant to do with a goal, an assist, attack, whatever it might be. Yeah, he's very interesting. Him.
Yeah, and then you obviously had I don't know his name, March, is it, or something like that?
Solly March, yeah, one of their
played really well.
Brilliant. He needs to be playing for England. That kid, that guy. Well, I think he's like 27 or something now. But yeah, just a sweet left
He's
foot, left
29.
29. Now he's
Yeah,
20, but he's
now
been on
he's
the team
29.
the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah, he's a brilliant player. Honestly, very underrated.
And
Very under.
probably the one player I think that I could see 100% slotting into a top team,
It's
any of
on
the
now.
top team. Yeah, he's just quality, mate.
I,
He
I,
carries the ball so well, and he could beat anyone with that turn of pace he's got. It's ridiculous. But again, how old is he? He's gonna be like
I
26,
just
27.
I just watched him completely ghost past one of the Luton fullbacks, and
Mm,
just with absolute ease, beautiful dribbling, just caressing the ball. But
yeah.
he's got, well, I think he's like got not a diploma, a PhD in the art of dribbling a football or something.
It's ridiculous, isn't
And I
it?
mean, I'm not even like joking. Like that's an actual thing. He studied football literally on an educational level,
That's
academically even.
mental.
Yeah, crazy. He's definitely off somewhere else. I would
The
be
one
surprised
thing, yeah. Sorry, carry on.
if, if he ended up replacing Riyad Mahrez for City, who they just lost to the Saudi league, because I think he'd be a
Mahrez
perfect.
plays on the right, he plays on the left, doesn't he?
I know, but I think they can find a way to shoehorn that somehow. Just a pure dribbler, you know what I mean?
Mm,
I'm not interested in anything else except sizing up a fullback, getting him, and either putting a ball in or scoring a goal. That's all I do.
yeah. Yeah, he's very good. The one thing I think they might need a change, which I guess they probably have in a weird way, is obviously Welbeck. He didn't look great, if I'm honest, but he's still done well. But I think he's kind of like the big sore thumb. He's the sore thumb at the sides. You know what I mean? He's the big like shining area that I would change. But they got Evan Ferguson. Do you know what I mean? So I guess he's perfect in that sense because you can play the games when he's fit. And then Evan Ferguson, come on, play the last 30, 40 minutes or 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So for me, obviously, Welbeck is obviously a great forward, but need to look at probably moving him on. But I think Evan Ferguson will come in. But I genuinely think next season Evan Ferguson will be snapped up by a big club.
Oh yeah. Well, if not next season, then one of the coming seasons. He's perfect. He's a big, massive, tall, technical, physical number 9, and yeah, that's exactly the kind of striker that you want leading the line for a Premier League team. So it's gonna happen in next year. It just depends on who.
Yeah, exactly. And
You know what?
we're coming.
I wouldn't be too miffed if Brighton ended up keeping him at the same time as well.
You reckon?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Brighton are a club on the up and up. If they go on to do bits, then so be it.
Yeah, I guess that's the beauty of the Premier League at the moment. Even the so-called smaller clubs don't need to sell players these days.
Yeah.
They don't need to do anything because, well, the money's there for them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why I think the big clubs are having it back after all these years where they bullied smaller clubs to get players on the cheap. Now they're paying for it in the sense that they don't have to sell them, so they can ask whatever money they want for them. Do you know what I mean? And if you want it,
Exactly.
you got to pay. Um, Last but not least, then we're gonna touch up on this game very very quickly. Newcastle game, Newcastle Aston Villa. A lot of people thought Aston Villa would be potential top 4 runners. Of what I spoke to, definitely top 6. The way
Hmm.
they played yesterday, Newcastle played them off the pitch, mate. Absolute beautiful. Isaac's up front, mate. I don't know where this kid was all last season, but I'm telling you, he played absolutely phenomenal.
He was there. He was there. He was there. He's
Yeah,
he was
he
good.
was hiding then. You know what I mean? He played absolutely phenomenal. Coming in, I think it was like two goals. I think. Really, really good. Could not fault him. Anything that he did yesterday. To be fair, held up the ball well. Runs in behind were phenomenal. Finishing was just pure instinct. To be fair, it didn't even look like he was thinking about it, which is obviously what you want from your striker. To be fair, if you're playing up front, you want a striker that can instinctively finish. Um, in terms of Aston Villa, I was quite disappointed with this centre back situation in terms of that Pau Torres, whatever his name is, coming on in for injured Tyrone Mings. I hope he's okay. It didn't look like a great challenger from Ronsu. Um, he was not good. There's a reason why he didn't start, right? Thinking
Mm.
back on it, considering that Emery's obviously played with him before, knows him inside out. He did not look up to the speed of the game. Okay, he's brilliant with his feet. You know what I mean? Calm at the back and everything like that. But he made a couple of mistakes. Didn't look great. And I think that's what changed because it was 2-1 to Newcastle. The injury happened on 31 minutes, and then all of a sudden it went downhill. They scored a couple of goals in a row. Um, yeah, Isaac's had him on toast, if I'm honest, mate. If I'm really honest. Do you think? Do you think Newcastle can keep this up with their Champions League as well?
I think only time will tell, to be honest. It's really difficult to kind of assess how things are going to unfold with only one Premier League game played. Um,
Mm.
you get a better feel of things as the season goes on, and you start to get a feel of the patterns that the teams have got in their consistency and in their general play, their squad management, and what have you. Um, so yeah, it's really difficult to make predictions. I will say that I think Eddie Howe knows what he's doing.
Mm.
Um, he's calm, he's measured, he's assured. He's got their feet on the ground. He's invested those big Saudi petrol dollars into the football team, kind of really sensibly without blowing his load too early, for lack of a better term. Um, like, for example, he's gotten rid of the flashy Saint Maximan, who obviously looks like a proper Champions League footballer, and he's replaced him with Harvey Barnes, who I think scored and set up a goal and an assist.
Yeah.
And you can see sensibility is his kind of modus operandi, if you can call it that, his preferred way. Let me get smart signings in. Let me build a sensibly balanced squad. Yeah, I think they'll manage it okay.
I think
Honestly, I really do.
he likes hard working individuals who can hold their own and it won't rely upon anybody else to cover their workload.
I,
Um,
so, so I think it'd be different. It'd be difficult to be a professional footballer if you didn't have a hard-working kind of element to you just anywhere, right? In any of the league levels. But I think the difference is the application of your work, and
True.
the like the likes of a Harvey Barnes would be somewhat wasteful, for example,
Hmm.
not profligate, and it's quite consistent. Whereas a Saint Maximan, a guy who you think, what? Why is he getting rid of him? Yeah, he's like infinitely more talented, but he's a lot more wasteful. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
I wasn't too sure when he started signing, obviously, that Gordon and that Barnes. Like, I think I said to you, why is he's got all that money, why is he signed Barnes? Do you mean? I didn't quite understand it.
you see Harvey Barnes yesterday.
Yeah, really good, man. I was
Yeah,
really surprised, you know what I mean? In terms of, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't really watch him much last season. All right, I didn't watch him. I wasn't studying Harvey
all
Barnes, you know what I mean?
all of my
But
friends hate him. All of my friends hate him. Every time I pick him up, they're like, "Nah, he's garbage. He's garbage. He's garbage."
he's one of those players who are just like you look at him like, oh, mate, you don't look like a top. Yeah, I know, you know what I mean. You don't
Yeah,
look like a
yeah,
top player, but when he gets
I
on that pitch, he is a top class footballer. You
get
can't
that.
deny it.
I get that. But looks don't play football. Feet do.
No, exactly, and Gordon as well. Obviously, they bought him in last season. I think in January, wasn't it? It was a weird signing. Didn't really play much last season, and when he did, he wasn't great. But yesterday, he was really, really good. Great assist as well for one of the goals as well. But I look at I look at their bench, mate, and like obviously they got Almiron starting. They got the midfield looks absolutely phenomenal. By the way, that's a top four midfield. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You got Joe Linton, you got Gimerez or Gimerai or whatever you want to say his name is, and that new kid. I can't say that name. That new French kid, that 23-year-old. Got no chance of saying that name, and I'm not going to embarrass myself on here by saying it. But really, really good. You know what I mean? Very surprised with it. Personally, though, look at their bench, mate. Look at their bench. They got Wilson, Barnes, Longstaff, Murphy, all on the bench. They're
Who's the French?
not bums.
Who's the French kid?
Oh man, I can't say his name. Don't do this to me.
What's his squad number? What does he play?
Sandro Tonali Tonali
That's
Tonali.
it. That's it. That's it.
Oh, is
Tonali.
it Tonali?
Yeah,
There you go. Really
he's
looked really good, mate.
he's an Italian. He was like basically the AC Milan captain or the spiritual successor to the captaincy anyway, because this other fraud
Mm.
captain at the minute. Anyway, he was like an AC Milan kind of boyhood fan through and through. He ended up kind of being forced out of Milan because the offer from Newcastle United was just too good to turn down. I'm sorry, lad, but this money is just like like we have to
Huge.
take. I'm afraid, yeah. And he was kind of like sad and sulking as he turned up to St James's Park. But I tell you what, they've got a proper footballer in there, man. He's supposed to be like an Andrea Pirlo kind of regen, a bit very smooth, silky.
Yeah,
Um,
mate, he was so calm on the ball, man. Like even in
yeah,
the he was getting pressed. He was getting like Aston Villa were pressing. They weren't holding back. They're really good on their press. You know that from last season, right?
yeah.
But you know what, right? He made it look like he was playing against kids sometimes, mate. Just that little 1-2 boof gone. Do you know what I mean? Gone past two defenders, no
Oh,
issue whatsoever. Really good, mate.
yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him over the course of the season because they paid a lot of money for him.
Yeah, well,
A
I may have
truckload
to
of money.
have a little look at my dream team, like personally, and chuck him in there because he was really good. Do you know what I mean? But
That's-
yeah, in terms of that, then that's the games I watched. Like, quite impressed. Any further questions or anything you want to talk about right now before we end it here?
Yeah, I mean, all I really want to see is just a shift and a change in attitude and mentality from the Arsenal team. If we're going to kick on and go and finally overthrow this Manchester City team that have had their foots on everyone's throat for the last 6 to 7 years, I don't see it being anyone than us if it's going to be anyone right now with the way that all of the squads are looking. But if we don't apply ourselves accordingly, then it doesn't matter how much talent we've got on our squad anyway. And I think that's either going to be the making or the breaking of us. So yeah, attitude adjustment is what I want to see basically from
Yeah,
Arsenal.
and it
If
will happen.
it feels like to me the rest of the league is a bit of a kind of free for all. The big clubs don't really know what they're doing. Like
No.
do well, what's Chelsea on? Okay, 600 million last season, and then they did a clear out this season. Like this is
Well, a little touch upon that. I was reading obviously a financial paper from New York this morning, funny enough. When I woke up, obviously I seen it on Twitter. Thought I'd read it myself instead of going off what Twitter says. And they were doing the financial fair play rules for Chelsea. They look
yeah.
like they're going to be 600 million they'll have to find. Otherwise, they will be breaking it. Which, for me, is ridiculous because how can you how can you just go out there and spend, yeah, we could be 600 million in financial fair play debt. What you got to win the Premier League for that, surely, or something stupid like that. I don't even know how much you get for winning the Premier League. Like, it's not
I've
600 million, no. They
I
haven't
mean
got a shirt sponsor. They haven't got. They've only got what, a 40,000 seater stadium.
they got Travago on their training tops. I guess that counts. Yeah, Stamford Bridge is only I think 38,000 or 40,000.
So it's not
Um,
like they're pulling in huge revenue from that. They haven't got a match day shirt sponsor. They haven't at the moment. So they got no money coming in from that. Where you look at United, Liverpool, Arsenal sponsors are fucking huge money. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know how they're managing to navigate their way around it. To be fair, but me, what I keep, what gives me solace, right, is knowing that the likes of a Chelsea can go on and spend 600 million like they did last season and finish exactly where they finished, which goes
Mm.
to show that big bucks and dollars don't equate to immediate success
No,
on a football pitch, and that's one
not
of the most
anymore.
refreshing things ever. So yeah,
Yeah,
they let them do as they please because it's not the key ingredient to success in football. Application is and
yeah,
and and good use of the resources you have at your disposal, or the best use of the resources you have.
yeah. Exactly,
I
exactly.
I could have 100 quid, right, and I could do myself a week's worth of shopping, and you could have 100 quid and you can get yourself the best meal for the evening, right?
Mm.
You could argue one way or the other as to how the money was best spent, couldn't you? But
Yeah, exactly.
ultimately, you're going to be hungry tomorrow and for the rest of the week.
Mm.
That's how I
Yeah,
see that.
and I agree. I can't fault that, to be fair. But I seriously, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'd be really, really worried. Really worried in terms of where the club's going, the direction of the club, what they want to do, how they want to do it, because they're not doing it very good, personally. if you look at if you go by results.
No, but they have looked very kind of tidy and steady in pre-season. To be fair, so you know,
But
they got that.
Nkunku injury now.
Yeah, massive.
Big
16 weeks.
setback.
He's out for
16
16 weeks.
weeks. Yeah, if I'm Chelsea, I'm looking at another striker then, which they probably haven't got the money for at the moment. Saying that, they just put 110 million in for Caicedo, haven't they? So crazy. And that farce is a different one. We'll talk about that another day, but that's crazy until it's confirmed what's going on with that.
Ridiculous. Gone from Arsenal chasing him all of last January, him handing in a transfer request off the back of that, and then nothing happening, and then him signing a 5-year deal with Brighton after begging and crying to leave, which makes no sense. And then this summer being chased by Chelsea all summer long, right? Just for them to haggle because Chelsea are offering the exact same 80 million that Chelsea are offering the same 80 million that Brighton were turning down Arsenal for offering. So what?
And then Liverpool came in with 110 million. He came out and said, "I don't want to play for him," and now it's just like, well,
now about the Chelsea thing.
Mate, it's mental. Because now Chelsea know, right, okay, it's going to cost us 110 million. We haven't got that money. They haven't got that money, I don't think. And that's why they're not offering it straight up, because they would have offered it by now. Knowing that that's what it takes to get him out of his contract, and get him out of Brighton, because they've accepted it from Liverpool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So why would Brighton go, do you know what, right, we're going to accept 98 million for you? No, they just been offered 110. You know what I mean? Whether he wants to go to that club, they can still sell him. It is not up to the player.
There seems to be a particular reason as to why Chelsea don't want to pay those extra few dollars, and I can't think what it is. If it's not financial fair play, then I can't understand what else it could be.
Mate, he's going to be on an 8-year contract, bro. 8 years. Like, how can you put someone on an 8-year contract? It doesn't make sense to me.
This is if he goes there.
Yeah, but that's how they get away with financial fair play, because that 100 million spread over 8 years.
I know, but then they put the kibosh on that, didn't they? So you couldn't kind of circumnavigate the rules by doing that anymore. After they noticed Chelsea were doing it the first couple
Did
of
they come
times
in?
with Mudryk.
Has it come
Sorry.
in?
Well, now they're signing up to 7-year deals.
Oh, for God's sake.
Typical, absolutely typical.
But yeah, right, and that's me done for today anyway. No, thanks for coming. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share with a friend. If you're watching on Spotify, don't forget, give a 5-star rating.
Harry Kane still no trophies, by the way.
You had to get that one in.
That's
Right.
it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Much love. Peace.